Here I am with another demo derby. We're checking out the demo for Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Ultimate. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, you say? Cool boy. I'm glad you brought that up. Because somewhere here, I have Phantom Breaker. Phantom Breaker Limited Edition. Phantom Breaker Extra. What's that over there? And Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Overdrive. But this is Battlegrounds Ultimate. How many times can you release the same game again? Well, let's find out. Press any button to begin. I can't. Oh, does this not support controller out of the box? What's accept on the keyboard? B? Select page. Button layer. But my Sony's plugged in. Hey, that worked. It looks like this demo supports local. Let me have a look. Co-op mode. Multiple players up to 4 at once. Here's our selectable characters. Okay, so we don't have access to the full roster here. Only the characters that were in the original, by the looks of things. That's cool. That means we have access to... Oh, Nagi. Okay, cool. And got Kurisu, obviously. And we have teleported back through time in a microwave Kurisu. That's cool. 2 stages to pick from. Oh god. Oh, Gate of Steiner is playing. Beautiful. It's good to be back. I'm glad that this is getting a modern re-release, though I must say it is unnecessary. The Xbox Live version is playable on Xbox Series, backward compatible. The PS4 version is playable on the PS5. But, you know, regardless of whether we really needed another version of this game, which is arguable, it is nice to know that there is one. And I wasn't expecting a demo, because to be fair, this isn't due out until February next year. That Gate of Steiner is beautiful. That is glorious. So naturally, I'm going to use this video as an excuse to plug my Phantom Breaker Sushi Bites. An almost hour-long look at the entire Phantom Breaker series up until before Omnia's release. Back then, there was no knowledge that this was going to get a remaster slash, I guess, translation to Unreal Engine 5. And Phantom Breaker Omnia ended up getting delayed after I said it would come out the year that the video was due out. That game ended up getting delayed again, and if you know anything about Phantom Breaker's development history, you know that it kept getting delayed. Until eventually, the English language version of the original Phantom Breaker was outright cancelled. And there's many aspects that went into that. It wasn't just the publisher 760's fault, and it wasn't just their owners getting arrested for stuff. It was also alleged that the original developers were not so forthcoming in providing updates and patches that once the game was in the hands of the localizers, that was it. They wanted to be completely hands-off. So apparently it was rather difficult to work with them in regards to the English language localization of the original Phantom Breaker. I go into it, not in a great detail, but I did heavily crib from a Gaming Hell article, and I'm glad that the owner of Gaming Hell has watched that video and is not angry that I cribbed their entire article wholesale. I did credit that that's where the information had come from, you know. It's not plagiarism if I am rewording it in my entire format and pointing out where that information was obtained from. But yeah, they're, wrong side. Their timeline was incredibly helpful in finding out the entire development history for the Phantom Breaker English localization. I still get messages on Xbox about that North American prototype, because of course I had a digital version of it that's sent to me by the owner of that particular copy. I still get messages from people who want me to upload it or send them the physical proto. Those people don't realize I don't own it physically. But yeah, I still get messages about releasing it digitally, and I made a promise to the owner of the prototype that I would not disseminate it.
Can't wait to break you open.
So weird hearing English voices coming out of Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds. I'm not sure if the game feels a little bit weightier than I remember, and I'm not sure if that is because of the controller I'm using. Steam input adding some sort of small delay, or because my character is not leveled up, and as you level up in this game, as you improve your stats, you become faster and your jump gets higher and you deal more damage, and the delay between your attacks is reduced. So I think it's probably more likely that. What I'm playing here is perfectly fine. I'm just skeptical as to what the ideal price point for this is going to be for me, as someone who owns it on Xbox Live Arcade, owns it on PlayStation 4 Limited Edition. What is the right price point for me to grab this again? Because I will play through it again, but I'm wondering what the correct price point will be for me. I like the Phantom Breaker series, I like its characters, I like the story. But in terms of gameplay, I've always struggled with this and regular Phantom Breaker. Of course, with this, you keep struggling until you get powerful, and then it's not a problem. You don't get stat increases in the original Phantom Breaker to make things easier. We're Unreal Engine 5 now. We don't really need items that fade out if you don't pick them up quickly. Come on. Nobody's playing this on a potato anymore. Although I reckon this would probably run quite well on weaker machines. I'm not sure what the overheads are for actual Unreal Engine 5. Like, whatever the general cost of entry is in terms of processor, graphics card, to be able to run UE5 in general. Remix soundtrack is nice. I wonder if this will have support for the Yamaha synth soundtrack, the Mega Drive style soundtrack. And if there's any one thing I would change visually, it's definitely the amount of bloom Like, this is Bloom overkill. I understand the sun is shining through the windows and there are spotlights on the stage, but the bloom is too much. This isn't Half-Life 2. You know, this isn't a circa 2004 PC game. It's just too much bloom. We're not playing Oblivion. I'll have a look through the settings in a bit and see if that's something I can turn off in some kind of graphics menu. Don't know why I'm bothering to pick up all the gems. I can't imagine this demo actually has stat transfer to the full game. Boss of this level is, Lady with the Sword. Yeah. Fake Makoto. White Makoto.
This power. I have to.
Oh! That theme is so good. That's a funny boss. That really is. Drop the time machine on her once. Game over. And I take it I can't go into the stats menu and adjust my stats. Yeah, there's no setup. No online play. Right, okay. There's no graphics options full stop. You got your screen size, and that's it. Original PSG ver! Yes, okay. Okay, my takeaway from the Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Ultimate demo is it seems relatively faithful to the original, as far as I can tell. It's got those Panda additions, like the English voiceover, the animated opening cutscene, a new version of the classic I Fight Dragons song, Move, sung by the new voices for the main cast. I don't hate what's here. I think it's put together extremely well. The issue is, this is like the fourth time this game has been released. It was released on Xbox 360, then Vita, then PS4/PC. No, this is the fifth time, isn't it? Xbox 360, PC, PS Vita, then the PS4 and Switch version came at the same time. This is the PS4 version. And now it's getting released again. This time PS5, Steam, Xbox Series, Switch. How many times can you release the same game without diminishing returns? I think that is the tricky situation that Rocket Panda are going to find themselves in. Is how do we sell the same game again? And how do we sell the same game now that Scott Pilgrim has been re-released? And so many people compared the original version of this to the Scott Pilgrim game. I believe somewhat unfairly, but it got compared at the time. I do not envy Rocket Panda Games here. They're going to have a difficult time convincing people who have bought this game several times before to buy it again. And I'm going to want to see a toggle to turn that bloom off. It's distracting. I'm going to want to see a toggle for that bloom. If not, then my recommendation would be pick this up on PC so somebody can mod the bloom out. Maybe there's something in a config file that we can modify right now to turn the bloom off. I don't want it to feel like I'm being overtly negative about Battlegrounds Ultimate. It's just, I genuinely think this is going to be an extremely hard sell for Rocket Panda. And I don't envy the position they currently find themselves in. I genuinely don't envy that situation. I'm curious what the sales figures were for Phantom Breaker Omnia, both on launch and afterwards, with all the sales. I imagine it sold fairly well after sales, because I picked it up on Xbox, and I'm pretty sure I picked it up here on Steam as well. I get the feeling that Overdrive will be another one of those games that will sell better during Steam sales than it will during its initial launch window, which is not uncommon. For this to sell well during the initial launch window, Rocket Panda is going to need to put this in the hands of Phantom Breaker fans. And is this video a thinly veiled request for a digital version? Is me holding up my physical copy of Phantom Breaker Overdrive, and my Phantom Breaker Extra, and my limited edition of Phantom Breaker, and my other Phantom Breaker, is this emotional manipulation? Am I engaging in emotional manipulation? Am I being a shit? I think the answer is in part yes. I think I am being a shit. But when have I ever not been a shit? I want Phantom Breaker to succeed. I am invested in this now, in a way that I wasn't before I started researching the Sushi Bites episode. I'd played the live arcade game quite a bit beforehand, and enjoyed it immensely, and had no idea it was the sister to this fighting game that ended up getting delayed, and eventually the English version cancelled. Once I learned the history of Phantom Breaker, I became enamored with the franchise, and I want it to succeed. What is here is done well, but I'm just worried it will not sell. Hey, that rhymed. I'm looking forward to this releasing in February, but until then, we've got an awful lot to lose. So get up and move!